For our example, we have that the Toyota Corolla was the most popular car in Florida in 2020 and has a base price of $20,025 new. Suppose you take out a loan of $20,000 to purchase one, where you have two options of paying it off, either a 2-year loan with 4% monthly interest or a 4-year loan with 5% monthly interest. And what we want to do is find and compare the monthly payments and total interest value for these two loans. Where the formulas are a little bit nasty, I'm not going to write them out. I'm going to let my handy image editing skills do most of the work there. But we need to get our PMT values. We need to use that for both cases, where in the first case of that 4% loan, we have the formula value there, where our P, the value, is $20,000. The rate is 4%. This is being paid monthly, so N is equal to 12, and we're doing this over 2 years. So we end up with $20,000 times 0.04 over 12, all over 1 minus 1, the quantity, 1 plus 0.04 divided by 12, all raised to the power negative 24, quite a mess, and the final answer it gives us there is $865.50. Usually you'd end up rounding to that because they don't expect you to pay in pennies, but I'm going to round to pennies anyway, just because. And then for the 5% interest loan, you have the same value P as $20,000. The interest rate here is 5%. This is still monthly, but now we're paying it over 4 years. So when we are having in that negative exponent, that would be negative 12 times 4. Where, for those of you that don't remember, you can deal with negative exponents. What that essentially means is instead of multiplying successively, we are dividing successively. And in that case, we would end up getting a value of $460.59. And then to check our interest values in each of those cases, it's pretty simple. We take the values that we're paying there per month, multiply them by the amount of months that we're paying, and subtract the total cost there from the loan. So we take $865.50, multiply that by 24, and subtract $20,000 for the 4% loan over 2 years to get a interest value of $844. Meanwhile, at 5%, we are paying over 4 years, and that ends up being $460.59 times 48 minus 20,000, which would be $2,108.32. Again, I talked about this stuff way back in, I think that ended up being, I can't remember if it was 8.1 or 8.2. We were looking at these things with interest rates, and this is a general rule that if you're taking a longer term loan, you're going to pay a little bit more interest. If you're paying a little more interest, you probably want to be spread out over a longer period of time. At least that's what the seller will want to do in that case. Because here, on that 4% loan, you're essentially only paying one more payment's worth of interest. It's actually not that bad at all, but the interest payments, the monthly payments for that matter, they're maybe a bit high. They might be outside of your budget. On the other hand, for the 4-year loan, you have pretty reasonable payments to make per month, but you'll be paying them for much longer, and at the end of the day, you're covering a good $1,300 more for the exact same car. You're paying an extra 10% overall on the car for the right to make your payments a little bit smaller, because they're not quite half as much. It's a lot more reasonable maybe, it might be a lot more budgetable, but it does end up being a lot more. And that's the sort of decision you're always having to make when it comes to these types of loans, to these types of purchases. These are the types of decisions people have been making since the days of the GMAC being put together, is what can I afford and how long am I willing to be paying for it? Something that really comes out of what the budget is, what your credit score is, what you can do. Where if you can afford shorter terms, you'll generally get a better deal. But that might not always be the option. And next, we're going to look at a different kind of option we have, where instead of looking at buying a car, we'll talk about leasing one.